Hey there, future scientists and curious minds. Ever stop and wonder what makes you, well, deep inside almost every single tiny part of your body and in every living thing from the smallest ant to the biggest whale, there's an incredible molecule. This molecule is like the ultimate instruction manual. It holds all the plans, all the directions for building and operating a living organism. We're talking about something truly fundamental to life itself, a master plan that has been passed down for billions of years. This amazing molecule is called DNA. DNA is a super cool abbreviation for a very long name, deoxyribonucleic acid. Think of it like this. If you were building an incredibly complex spaceship, you'd need a detailed set of blueprints, right? Well, DNA is exactly that, but for living things. It tells your body how to grow, what features to have, and how to function every single second of every single day. It's the chief architect, the master programmer, and the head librarian of information all rolled into one microscopic package. Let's dive a little deeper into what DNA actually does. We've called it a blueprint, and that's a fantastic way to think about it. Imagine an architect drawing up plans for a skyscraper. Those plans detail every single part, from the foundation deep underground to the antenna on the very top. DNA does something similar for your body and for every other living thing. It contains the specific instructions called genes that tell your cells what to do, what to become, and when to do it. These instructions, encoded in your DNA, determine your traits. Traits are your characteristics. Things like your eye color, whether your hair is curly or straight, how tall you might grow, and even some aspects of your personality or predispositions to certain abilities. What's really amazing is that while the basic structure of DNA is the same in all living things, the specific sequence of its components is unique for almost every individual. Think about it, there are billions of people on Earth, and unless you have an identical twin, your DNA is completely yours and yours alone. This uniqueness is what makes you distinct. It's like everyone has their own special edition of the Book of Life. So we know DNA is super important, but what does it actually look like? If you could zoom in millions of times, you'd see something truly iconic in the world of science. DNA has a very specific and famous shape called a double helix. Imagine a ladder. Now imagine taking that ladder and twisting it into a gentle, continuous spiral, like a spiral staircase that goes on and on. That's essentially what a DNA molecule looks like. This elegant, twisted structure is not just for show. Its shape is incredibly important for how DNA does its job of storing information and copying itself. The discovery of this double helix structure in 1953 was a monumental moment in science. Scientists James Watson and Francis Crick are often credited with figuring it out, and they built their famous model based on crucial X-ray diffraction images taken by another brilliant scientist, Rosalind Franklin, and her colleague Maurice Wilkins. Understanding this structure was like finding the key to unlocking the secrets of how life works at its most fundamental level. It opened up a whole new era of biological research. All right. We've seen the amazing shape of DNA, that twisted ladder, the double helix. But what are the rungs and sides of this ladder actually made from? Let's zoom in even further and look at the fundamental building blocks of DNA. These tiny units are called nucleotides. Think of them like individual Lego bricks that snap together in long chains to build the magnificent DNA structure. Each DNA molecule is made up of millions, sometimes even billions of these nucleotide bricks, all linked together in a very specific order. Each nucleotide, each little brick, has three parts. There's a phosphate group, a sugar molecule, which in DNA is called deoxyribose. That's where the D in DNA comes from. And then there's a nitrogenous base. The phosphate and sugar parts are always the same in every nucleotide, and they link together to form the long, strong backbones, the sides of our DNA ladder. It's the third part, the nitrogenous base, that makes each nucleotide a little different and holds the key to the genetic code. Section 5, the secret language, introducing the genetic code. We've talked about DNA's shape and its building blocks, those A, T, C, and G bases. Now let's get to the really exciting part. How do these simple letters carry all the complex information needed to build and run an organism? It's all about the order or sequence in which these bases appear along the DNA strand. This sequence forms the genetic code, which is like a secret language that your cells can read and understand. Specific sequences of these bases form words called codons. Each codon is a three-letter sequence like AGC or TTA. These codons are the basic units of the genetic code, and each one typically specifies a particular amino acid, which are the building blocks of proteins. These codons, these three base words, are strung together in long sequences called genes. A gene is like a complete sentence or a recipe in the DNA cookbook. It contains the instructions for building one specific molecule, usually a protein. Section 6. From Code to Creation: How Genes Work. We've established that genes are specific sequences of DNA bases that act like instructions. But instructions for what, exactly? And how does a cell actually, and these instructions written in the language of A, T, C, and G? The primary role of most genes is to provide the recipe for building proteins. Proteins are the real workhorses of your cells and your body. They do almost everything. They build structures, carry messages, speed up chemical reactions, and fight off invaders. You are, in many ways, a magnificent collection of proteins in action. So, how does the DNA code get turned into a protein? It's a fascinating two-step process. First, the information in a gene, a segment of DNA, is copied into a similar molecule called RNA, specifically messenger RNA or mRNA. This process is called transcription. Section 7. A super long molecule fun fact time. All right, science enthusiasts, get ready for a mind-boggling fact about DNA that really shows you how incredible this molecule is. We know DNA is tiny, tucked away inside the nucleus of almost every one of your cells. But if you were to take all the DNA from just of your cells and stretch it out end to end, how long do you think it would be? A few millimeters? Maybe a centimeter? Nope. It would be about 2 meters long. That's roughly 6 feet, taller than many full-grown adults, all packed into a space much smaller than a speck of dust. Now hold on to your lab goggles, because it gets even more astonishing. Your body is made of trillions of cells. So if you could take all the DNA from the cells in your body, uncoil it and lay it out end to end, that string of DNA would stretch an unbelievable distance. It would reach from the Earth to the Sun and back, not just once, but hundreds of times. Think about that for a moment. The Sun is about 93 million miles, or 150 million kilometers away. That is an absolutely colossal amount of genetic information packed into you. Section 8. Why does it matter, DNA in our world? Okay, so DNA is this incredible, super long molecule that codes for life. That's cool science. But why does understanding DNA actually in our everyday lives and for society as a whole? Well, it turns out that knowledge of DNA and the genetic code is revolutionizing our world in so many ways. From medicine to crime solving to understanding our own past, DNA science is at the forefront of incredible advancements. One of the biggest impacts is in medicine. By understanding the genetic code, scientists can identify genes that are linked to certain diseases, like cystic fibrosis or Huntington's disease. This allows for earlier diagnosis, better understanding of how diseases progress, and even the development of new targeted therapies. Imagine treatments that are tailored to your specific genetic makeup. That's the promise of personalized medicine, and it's all thanks to our growing knowledge of DNA. We can also use DNA technology to develop vaccines and new drugs more quickly and efficiently. Section 9, the amazing molecule wrapping up DNA. So there you have it, science explorers. We've journeyed into the microscopic world to uncover some of the secrets of DNA. The deoxyribonucleic acid that serves as the fundamental blueprint for all known life. From its elegant double helix structure, looking like a twisted ladder, to its four-letter chemical alphabet of A, T, C, and G, DNA is a molecule of breathtaking complexity and profound importance. It's the instruction manual, the historical record, and the engine of evolution all rolled into one. It dictates so much of who and what we are, and indeed what every living thing on this planet is. Understanding DNA isn't just an academic exercise. It has profound implications for our world. It's driving innovations in medicine, helping us fight diseases and develop personalized treatments. It's a crucial tool in forensic science, aiding in solving crimes and ensuring justice.